Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bring you guys another new 2016 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the new album from Despised Icon entitled Beast, which came out yesterday through Nuclear Blast Records. Now, this is pretty much the new album from the band that pretty much started the whole subgenre of metal known as Deathcore today. They're a deathcore band from Montreal, Quebec, Canada that formed in 2002, and they basically were the band that pretty much created a new genre, the band that pretty much started it all when it came to deathcore. Like I said, they basically kind of blended in like death metal stuff with like Cannibal Corpse and Suffocation and Cryptopsy, shit like that, but with a little bit of hardcore influences like Hatebreed and shit like that. And they basically created deathcore, and they're pretty much were the only band around that time playing with like other death metal bands like Suffocation and Cannibal Corpse and stuff. But then flash forward to a couple years after that, some more deathcore pop bands popping up, such as like Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Carnifex, All Shall Perish, shit like that. And this band put out some great albums, such as like The Ills of Modern Man and Day of Mourning, and this album is their first album in nearly, I think it's 7 years since to have a new album since Day of Mourning, because after the year after that, in 2010, the band broke up. But then in 2014, the band actually had reformed. But that was around that time they just announced that they were doing shows, no tour, no big albums or anything. But it wasn't until like a few months ago when they announced they were making a new album, I was like, wow, this band is back with a new album. And when I first heard the title track, I was like, yep, the Kings of Deathcore are back. And then I heard this album, and I was like, I really want to check this out. And this album, it's pretty good. It pretty much picks up where Despised Icon has left off. And the one thing to know about is the vocal work from this album. Alex Arian and Steve Merwalt was vocals. They do a lot of good trade-offs with there. Alex just has a little bit more of the hardcore mid-range screams, and I love how Steve just does like the just insane death metal lows and just the pig squeals. It's just insane. The guitar playing is from Ben Longerville, and Eric Jardin is just insane, and also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, their former guitar player is also producing this album, Yannick Saint Demandas, who actually does a little bit of samples in media, and I think he might do guitars. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah. And the bass playing on this album is pretty audible from Sebastian Piche, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Alright, you can hear the bass a little bit more on this as opposed to the past couple Despised Icon albums, such as Consumed by Your Poison and stuff. And just the drumming on this album. Alex Pelletier, aka the Grind Man, is just insane. Just like my God, his drumming is just absolutely insane on this album. But yeah, let's dive into this album track by track. Now the album opens up with the Aftermath. Then this pretty much has some good vocal trade-offs from Alex and Steve. Even just the drumming on this album is insane. It's just a very, very furious, and this pretty much is a statement from the band that they are back with a fucking vengeance. And just to note, the icon is returned. Then we go to Inner Demons, which is pretty much the same as the Aftermath, but it kind of takes it a little bit further, and I pretty much love the bass part in there from Sebastian. And my favorite thing is the breakdown in there with both Alex and Steve both screaming "fuck my life." It's just a really pretty good song. And then we get to Drapeau Noir, if I'm saying that right. Probably butcher that, which in my opinion, this is pretty much the highlight of this album, and just has a really good melodic guitar line, and that goes into some insane drumming. It's a pretty interesting song. Like I said, pretty much the highlight of this album. Then we get to Bad Vibes, which is one of the singles on this album, this pretty much sounds like very hardcore-esque. Sounds just straight up hardcore, which is pretty good, I have to say. And then we get to an interlude of the album called Dedicated to Extinction, which honestly, I feel like this should have been like the album intro, kind of like an intro. It's kind of like a minute and a half long. I honestly feel like this should have been started off the album. I would have put that as track one. But then we get to Grind Forever, which pretty much pays homage for their return. It just pretty much a nod to their drummer, to Alex Grind Pelletier. It's just the drumming on this song is particular, but then again, the whole drumming from Alex on this album is just good. But anyway, when we get to Time Bomb, just sounds very grindcore. I just thought it was pretty good. One Last Martini, the kind of similar to Bad Vibes, still has that very hardcore vibe to it. And then we get to another interlude called Doomed, which is a pretty good interlude, which kind of leads into the last song on the album, which is the title track, Beast, which is pretty much similar to the Aftermath. It's just an all-out closer, pretty much destroys everything with the vocal trade-off from Alex and Steve, and just the drumming is just insane. And this is just very hard-hitting, some very hard-hitting guitars, and it's a pretty good way to end this album. Now, overall, Beast by Despised Icon is a pretty good comeback album, I have to say. It pretty much picks up where the band left off from Day of Mourning to this album. So yeah, if I were to give this album a score, I'd probably give this like a solid 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good album, and I have to say so myself, from the OGs of Deathcore. So yeah, that's my review of the new Despised Icon, guys. Let me know what you guys think about it. I'll see you all in the next video, and keep it metal.